In today's session of Divorce Court, Anthony Cockrell says his wife Brenda has ripped his life to shreds.
16 years ago, I came home from work, Your Honor, and there was panties and bras in my sock drawer, and I've been paying ever since.
Nothing I did was right.
This is a drama queen, crying, screaming, throwing things. I let her destroy my clothes.
What do you mean destroy clothes?
You just don't know how many. She done cut up into little pieces. She wraps them up like Christmas gifts and takes them wherever I'm at. Cut up into little bitty neat pieces. She'll burn them up.
And burn them up?
Burn them up, burn them up. She conveniently misplaces my stuff. I don't know where it is. She holding my shoes hostage now. I got left shoes. I mean, it's the only pair I got now.
So is that bad?
Ooh, I'm stupefied.
Now Brenda Cockrell faces off with Anthony Cockrell in today's session of Divorce Court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Maybelline Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Anthony Cockrell versus Brenda Cockrell. And I'm advised that after 7 years of marriage, Mr. Cockrell, you've got the itch and you want to get out. Why?
No. Well, Your Honor, it's like I'm married to not only this woman, it's like I'm married to her and 50 other people. People know our business. It's a rotating basis. The neighbors.
Rotating basis.
Yeah, it's 50 different people every time I turn around that's in our personal life. The neighbors know our business. The people in the store know our business. The people, friends of friends of friends of friends know our business.
What is she telling these people that make you so upset? Is she telling them the truth?
Anything, everything,
yes,
and adding to it.
It's the truth. Like what?
She's a very emotional woman. If I say, look, dear, I don't like the way you did the living room today, it'll wind up being, he tore the living room up and he told me he was going to throw me out the window and blah, 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 blah.
It's not about the living room. So not only does she tell everybody, she adds to
stuff to it.
He's very derogative.
I'm very derogative, okay? And she's very emotional.
And she's very dramatic.
Abusive.
And both of you are very rude, because only one of you should be talking at a time.
That's usually how it goes. Excuse me, Your Honor.
All right, now, she's telling people your business no matter what, and you're saying that she adds to it, yeast cake it, make it more than what it is?
Right, Your Honor. Regularly.
In addition to telling it?
In addition to telling it, and then sometimes her actions. She acts out. Her feelings get hurt. She acts out on things.
Like what?
I've lost a job. Showing up on my job.
What do you mean by that?
Jobs, you know what I mean?
She showed up on your job. Why is go to your job? What'd she do?
Not to make drama. This is a drama queen.
Drama queen. What'd she do at your job?
Make a scene.
Like what?
Tell business. I hurt her feelings, crying, screaming, throwing things. Getting...
Throwing things?
Oh, yeah. In Texas, Your Honor, in Texas, she came to a government contract job I was on. The people called me up, asked me to look on the monitor, do I know that woman? She's sitting on my car with suitcases, kids, and boxes on a government contract. I lose that job.
Suitcases, kids, and boxes?
I come from another state to another state to do it.
She drove interstate to do that?
Called the Greyhound.
He knew I was coming.
Suitcases, kids, and boxes. What, was she bringing your kids to you and your clothes?
No, her kids. They were her kids.
Bringing them to you?
And herself, after I left.
To get a key.
Oh, so she was still trying to get back?
Oh, yes, I was letting her back. Okay, but I had to get some distance between her because I needed to get out there and set up, get us a place to live, get furnishings, get a phone cut on, get the kids' stuff set up, get them ready to go to school. All of these things that I've been doing. This has been going on for years. You're saying 7 years, Your Honor. It's been 16 years ago. I came home from work.
16 years?
16 years ago.
So you had a history of living together?
Yeah. Yes. 16 years ago, I came home from work, Your Honor, and there was panties and bras in my sock drawer, and I've been paying ever since.
And you've been, wait a minute. 16 years, you've been paying ever since. So you didn't ask her to put the panties and bras in there?
Look, all my clothes was pushed down in the closet. I had one closet. All my clothes was in the back, and I don't have none of them now.
All right, so she's just been moving you out little by little.
Little by little, and I can't keep up with the Joneses no more.
What's going on, Miss Cockrell?
Well, actually, I can't talk to him, so I have to have someone to talk to. And it's not a matter of telling our business. People already know our business. He puts our business out there. He puts it out there. He's very loud. He's abusive. And people hear the arguments we have.
You mean at home?
Yes.
So your neighbors hear the arguments?
Every one of them.
So both of you are putting your business in the street by yelling so loudly that the neighbors can hear it?
Yes.
Well, what about your friends and your co-workers and your relatives?
Well, I do tell them, yes.
What do you tell? Oh, his co-workers.
My
no, not his
co-workers. On every shift.
No. And as far as me going to Texas, he was expecting me while he's making it seem like he wasn't.
What do you mean he was expecting you? He had relocated to another job?
Yes.
And you were
Didn't have no
supposed to meet
choice.
him there?
Right.
Didn't
and
have
I
no
showed
choice.
up to get the key because myself and the kids, we needed to be able to get in the house.
Neighbor right
So wait
next
a
door
minute.
had the
Are you
key.
be quiet, Mr. Cockrell. She's talking and so am I.
Excuse me.
So what you're telling me is that your husband had relocated to another town for work, I take it.
Right, yes.
And before he could tell you where the house was and tell you when to come, you caught a bus and packed up the kids and went on your own?
Yes, he knew I was coming. He knew I was coming.
You guys couldn't arrange a date and time that he would meet you at home with the key?
No,
you had to
he
go
was
to his job?
Well, depending on the bus arrangements, when we got there, we showed up on his job and we did not cause a scene, only to get the key, and he left work.
Got fired?
He left work. No, you didn't.
Terminated right
No,
there on
you
spot.
didn't.
You couldn't even communicate enough with each other to say, honey, I'll meet you at the bus stop, at the bus station
we just
with
got
the
off the-
kids at a certain time, and I'll pick you and the kids up from the bus station and take you to our new home. You couldn't even arrange that?
No, ma'am. He
Why
was
not?
on his job. He couldn't get the time off of his job.
He couldn't get the time off.
Right. He was new on the job.
So you just said he got the time off and came and took you home.
Well, he left.
So what's
He left
the
his
difference?
job.
Your Honor.
I don't know.
So did he get fired?
No, he didn't.
Did he
went
quit
back the
the
next day.
job?
As far as I know, he didn't get fired. He went back the next day, or he went somewhere.
So why couldn't he have done that at the beginning?
That was the arrangement.
So
was
this
to
wasn't
meet
a
him.
scene. You weren't doing this to be the
No,
drama
it was
queen?
not a scene.
Your
As
Honor.
a matter of fact, we were getting back together. So why
Your
would it be
Honor.
a scene?
Hold on, Mr. Cockrell.
Okay.
So you were getting back together. You mean
Yes.
you had separated?
Not really. He had moved to take a new job in Texas.
Okay, getting back together, and he had moved to take another job. It's
We
two
had problems
inconsistent
before.
premises.
We'd had problems before.
All right, so you had separated, and in the separation period, he moved to another state.
We
Several
talked
times.
before. No, not several,
Several times, several
we
states.
talked beforehand, and we were working things out.
You lasted
myself
one
and
day
the
in
kids.
Texas.
Right,
One
because you
day.
were abusive.
You
Mr.
left-
Cockrell, please do not
He was
interrupt
abusive.
her.
He was abusive as usual.
What do you mean by abusive?
Verbally abusive. Nothing
What?
I did was right.
Constantly complaining?
Constantly complaining.
Because he said something about if you change the living room around, you'd complain.
That's not true. That's not true. He
So
complained
what do
because
you
I
mean
didn't
when you
cook.
say nothing I did was okay with him?
When I questioned him on his whereabouts because I knew that he was seeing other women, he would get very offensive.
Wasn't
Oh,
serious.
so he was seeing other women.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
After I
And-
So
left
that
her.
was the issue in the case,
Yes,
in this
I left
marriage.
her.
that was our biggest problem in this marriage.
No.
Yes. And as a
Disagree.
result, I
Not
haven't...
talking. So is that what you talk to your friends about and your relatives and your
Yes,
neighbors
yes, it
about his
is.
infidelity?
Yes, it is.
And what
And
I
you were
say
letting
to
everyone
you
else
and
know,
how I say it.
Mr. Cockrell, if you don't close your mouth.
Okay. I will close my. Excuse me, Your Honor.
So is that what you were talking to your friends? And why are you looking at her?
I'm just. The thing she's saying, Your Honor, is just befuddling me. I'm dumbfounded here. The
Your
Texas
Honor,
incident.
But
for
you're
instance.
giving her that kind of look like if you open your mouth
No,
and
no,
say
that's
that.
just. I'm just looking because I'm like stupefied.
I'm not scared of
Oh,
him.
all
I'm
right.
stupefied. She's saying though about Texas. Now she lasted one day. The night I got fired when she came from, they terminated me on the contract right
was in
then.
Texas a
we
week.
went home to the house.
But wait a minute. When did I open up this for you to keep
You
talking?
did, and I was just trying to rebuttal because that's a woo-hoo. No.
Now,
See, that's a problem, too.
So you had his womanizing ways, and he talked too much. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And he always didn't let you get a word in?
Right.
When divorce court returns, Brenda responds to Anthony's allegations that she refuses to return his property.
She holding my shoes hostage now. I got left shoes. I mean, it's the only pair I got now.
Are you involved in a dispute with a neighbor, friend, relative, or business person? Take your case to a new court show and be represented by a prominent attorney. Call 877-777-0099. Divorce court is back in the case of Brenda Cockrell as she continues testifying about how Anthony's cheating has affected her life.
So how long had this womanizing been going on?
For years, Your Honor. For years. And yes, I put up with it. I wanted my marriage to work. But as a result of the womanizing, I have an $800 phone bill that I don't feel like I should pay. And as a result, it's affected my credit.
So it was his womanizing ways for a long time that you put up with.
Yes.
And now you got tired of it.
Right.
And you ending this marriage.
Well, I have a bill here. I don't feel that you know what he does, I can't stop him, but I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Well, let's talk about that, Mr. Cockrell. What about, let me see the bill you're talking about.
Sure.
You have womanizing ways?
Nope. There's usually a woman in my life, always has been when I
Well, you have a wife. Is there a woman and a wife?
This was before she was my
And
wife,
after
Your Honor.
and during.
Well, wait a minute. So are you saying was during the prior years, the 16 years?
Right. During that time when we weren't together, there was be a woman in my life.
Before
okay?
you married her?
Before I married her.
He'd say
all
we
right?
weren't together,
Now,
but yet we were still sleeping together, seeing each other,
how could we do
spending
that? And I
time
was in
together, but we
Texas.
weren't
Hold on a
together.
second.
Alabama.
Both of you are talking at the same time again. Now, Ms. Cockrell, I'm over on this side. It's your turn to be quiet.
Okay.
Your Honor, I left Ohio, went to Alabama, left Alabama, went to Texas, simply because
Why are you
of her
moving so
action.
much?
I couldn't stay with her. She was causing too much drama, not only in my life, but in the lives of those that surrounded
So
me.
if she was causing all of this drama and you couldn't stay with her, but you told me it was 16 years.
16 years.
Now,
Love make you do stupid
Hold on
things.
a second. The papers say you were only married 7 years.
This was our 7th anniversary just February.
So if I can subtract pretty well, that means you had 9 years
lifetime.
of this attitude that you couldn't deal with.
Well, I could deal with it. I just didn't have to deal with it the way that she liked me to. I think the guy
So
that
then why
invented
did
the
you
doorknob
bother
did
to
it for
get
me.
married? If you already knew
Because
9
love
years
make
history.
you do stupid stuff.
No, love don't make you do
Made
stupid
me do
stuff, but
stupid. I
love,
was stupid.
lust
Yes,
may
I was
make you do stupid stuff.
Well, that does too. That happens too.
What made you think getting a piece of paper was going to change your mentality and change your heart and change your concept of treating someone nice and being
I
respectful?
might be more mature about it.
Oh, come off of it. After living together 9 years and moving in and out of relationships, if you said, I do, that suddenly your mentality would change?
No, I did it. You have to understand. I did it. She asked me to do it. She asked me over years ago, why don't you marry me? Why don't you marry me? You know what I mean?
And you knew
all
why
her
you
friends-
didn't. Why?
Right, because I wasn't ready.
And why didn't you not marry her all those years?
Because I wasn't ready for her.
And you weren't ready to do what? Weren't ready
Commit.
to stop
I
your
wasn't
ways?
ready to. No, I wasn't, because I lived the lifestyle at that time, Your Honor. I lived the
he
type
didn't
of
stop.
lifestyle
Wasn't ready
that
to
she
commit.
came into. Right. She
didn't
came
stop.
into my lifestyle.
Okay, now let me ask you, Ms. Cockrell, if he told you for 9 years he wouldn't commit to you and he wasn't ready to commit.
That's not the way it went, though. He's making it to
Okay,
suit
now tell me your
himself.
side.
We talked about marriage on and off, and finally, after 9 years, we both were ready.
Well, then that's the same thing that he said. After
I
9 years, if he
He's
wouldn't
making
commit
it seem
to you,
like I badgered him into marriage,
no,
which I didn't.
he said you asked him and you wanted to be married. You talked
Yes.
about it
I have
for a
strong
number of years, but he was a womanizing man, and he didn't change his ways.
And
So
he did
what
not.
made you think that he was going to change his ways once you said I do?
Well, usually marriage makes you put forth more of a commitment to the person.
I tell you, you have a misconception of marriage. You have said to yourself, I want to commit to one person. Just because you say I do, that doesn't make you commit.
So I
And if
found
you
out.
lived with this man for 9 years and he didn't respect you enough and he said you had other men,
No,
you didn't
that's
respect
not
him
true.
enough.
That is not true.
Oh, so that's a lie.
Yes,
Got
it
one
is.
now. Know
It's
more
an
about,
outright
got
lie.
one now that know more about me than he supposed to. I don't even know the man. And he got attitude with me. I don't even know him.
Well, if you don't know him, how do you know he knows more about you?
Because this is
He's
what
a
she
fabricator.
told me.
He's
she
a
told me.
fabricator.
She said, he
All right,
don't like you.
you're missing my point. My point is marriage does not make you commit.
Right.
The commitment has to come before. So both of you went into this eyes wide open, and
all
you
wrong.
figured if I'm living with him and he's running around, maybe if we marry, he'll stop. Mistake.
Yes.
Mistake.
Found out.
You knew that you weren't going to stop.
At the time, yeah.
So, but once you made the commitment, and at least you said the words, did you ever within your heart and your mind and your soul and spirit decide, I want just one woman?
Yes.
Or did it always remain high?
It was
just
always
words.
someone else.
I decided, I felt that I wanted one woman, okay? I felt towards the wrong woman. That's all.
Oh, but then you discovered it wasn't this one.
Right. And I still tried to stick in there for another 7 years. And in the last 3 or 4 years...
How hard did you
it's been-
try? Did you try to stick in while you saw
I let the
Sally and Susie
I
and
lost
Mary?
jobs. I let the jobs get gone. I let her destroy my clothes and personal belongings. I let her destroy some friendships and family. I turned my back on a lot of things to stick it out with her.
What do you mean
okay?
destroy clothes and friendships?
You just don't know how many. I don't have none now. How many she done cut up into little pieces, wrapped them. When I hurt her feelings, she wraps them up like Christmas gifts and takes them wherever I'm at. Cut up into little bitty neat pieces.
Oh.
Oh,
Or they
is
get
that right?
burnt up.
No.
And
Okay?
burn them up,
Burn
too?
them up.
No.
Burn them up. She'll
No.
burn them
Miss
up.
Cockrell, have you ever done that? Is
No,
there any
ma'am.
truth to any of this?
No, it's not any truth
Not
to
even the
that.
slightest?
No, there's
Well,
not.
maybe you cut it up into big pieces.
Not big pieces, no.
Did you burn it?
I threw some away. The clothes that I had purchased, yes.
You would throw them away when you get angry.
That's
She
right.
holding my shoes
That's
hostage now. I got left shoes.
You bare feet?
No, I mean, it's the only pair I got now. She holds my, I get a left shoe.
jokester.
Okay, she conveniently misplaces my
jokester.
stuff. I don't know where it is.
I asked him to come and get his
You know what I
stuff.
mean? I don't know where, I
don't
threw it
have
out.
room to hold.
So you're holding his things?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't have
Well, what does he
anything
mean
his.
when he say you're holding his shoes hostage?
And my
Because you
suits,
got-
my pants,
Hold
my
on,
underwear,
Mr.
my
Cockrell,
socks.
because I don't see anywhere in the world you can wear them looking at your feet and his. So why you
Nor
holding
his
his shoes hostage?
clothes, nor his clothes. I've asked him to come get his items. He didn't. I don't have room to hold his stuff.
So you don't want to be
No.
a storage container?
I'm
Absolutely.
paying her for it. Like
Why
she
don't
talking
you
about
go
I'm-
get your things?
I'm scared to go over there. Every time I go over there, the police show up.
So why can't you just get a court order that says you can arrive at her house at a certain date?
Try
and-
that.
I have one.
Hold on, I'm talking. That you could arrive at her house at a certain date time and pick up your items, and why you just can't have them all packed up for him and leave them?
They were packed up for him.
And
And
what
I have
happened?
a court order that's saying he can notify me when he wants to pick them
So
up.
what'd you do, unpack them?
No, they're still packed up.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict.
All right, I am finished with the two of you. You just gave me a nice little introduction into my ruling.
And an update on the case of Angie English versus Tim English.
My husband is obsessed with strippers and strip clubs.
Just because you on a diet don't mean you can't look at a menu.
Divorce Court will be back in session in a moment. Divorce Court is back as Anthony Cockrell testifies about why he shouldn't have to pay an $800 phone bill for calls he made.
Now, what about this phone bill that you keep running up?
Oh, okay, the phone bill. Now, I had that card for several months, okay? But because of her actions on my job, I had to leave that job and go to work in another state. Okay, so I'm living in hotels,
going to another
motels, Holiday Inns, and they want $30 every time you go in there for a deposit on the phone. So I'm using the phone card.
And who are you calling using this phone card?
I'm calling my lady friend who's taking care of my business. She's taking care of the contracts that I've got pending in Cincinnati. She knew about this, okay? She
So
knew
you
I
calling
had
your
the card.
lady friend
I call her.
that's taking care of your business
I call her to take
on
care
your
of my
wife's
business,
credit
too.
card?
It was our card. There were two cards. I just had her card at the time.
What, did you pay it?
Yeah, I gave her the money. What she did with it, I don't know.
Oh, that's a lie.
So
No,
it's
he didn't.
I gave her the money.
I've been giving her money for 16 years.
Well, what about, I don't worry about 16 years. I'm just talking about on this phone bill that you happened, it was two cards you said. Mm-hmm. But you just happened to use hers.
No, I had her card. It was in my car at the time.
But
so
where was yours?
I have no idea.
Don't have a clue.
She loses these types of things.
And you couldn't call the telephone company.
She loses my identification
Your
on
Honor, can I say
payday.
something?
Hold on a second. But you couldn't call the telephone company and get your card.
She knew I had that card, just like at the time I had the credit card.
so dramatic.
She knew that I had these things because I was living off of them when we weren't together.
Well,
Those
now
are
that's
things
good. Now
I
that you were
sustained
living
of.
off of them when you weren't together.
But I was paying for them. I was
Well,
giving her the money.
you just gave me a nice little introduction into my ruling.
Okay.
You were living off of them when you weren't living together.
Right.
And
Well,
you were making the phone calls when you weren't living together. And I don't know why you couldn't have used the card that was in your name.
There
Because
was
she
none.
lost the card.
There
Okay.
was no
She
name
loses
card in
those
his
things.
All
name.
right,
Your
I
Honor.
am finished with the two of you.
That's why I gave her money. If I didn't
Now
know
you
she was
paid
gonna-
for it.
I look
The
like if I
order
didn't lose
is
then.
that you will pay the bill. If you gave the money, I don't have proof. The
Right.
bill is
If
still
I'd have known that she
outstanding.
was going to drag me into this, I would have gave her money orders.
When divorce court returns, an update on the case of Angie English versus Tim English.
He's known by first name basis on most of the strip joints. I'm the laughing stock of the town.
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. Are you involved in a dispute with a neighbor, friend, relative, or business person? To appear before a real judge on a new court show, call 877-777-0099. And now for an update on a previous case in divorce court. Angie English said her marriage to Tim ended because he spent all of their money on strippers.
My husband is obsessed with strippers and strip clubs. He's known by first name basis on most of the strip joints.
Just because you on a diet don't mean you can't look at a menu.
He thinks this is funny. All the times that I begged and cried and screamed for him to come home and to help pay our bills and help raise our children, and he makes a big joke out of it now. I'm the laughing stock of the town.
Angie said she owed more than $2,400 for their daughter's dental work, and she wanted Tim to pay the bill. After hearing the evidence, the judge ordered Tim to pay over $1,700. Tim says the judge made him realize that he was wasting a lot of money in strip clubs, and he now plans to invest in himself by opening up a club of his own. Angie says she is going to marry her younger boyfriend, and they plan to announce their engagement on a huge billboard in their hometown.
His mouth just runs on, and he never knows when to be quiet.
It was due, but I believe that, I should have got a better chance to explain some of the things that go on about that. It's my fault for not having the proper information and the paperwork that I had.
Tony, I hope that you can move forward with your life and just chalk this up as an experience that did not work for either one of us.
We'll be friends, that's about as far, and we've been that for quite a while now. But I don't like her, still.